Hi class, welcome back to Writer's Workshop today. So remember yesterday I started talking to you about a brand new author that we are doing right now for our author study. And that author is Eric Carle, okay? There were a couple things that we talked about that we noticed with his writing that he likes to do when he is an author and an illustrator in books. So I have a list here that I made yesterday, and let's go over that really quick. And then I'm going to read you another Eric Carle book. So we talked about how he uses very colorful pictures. Do you remember how he makes those pictures? Yeah, he uses tissue paper and paint, doesn't he? And then he has white backgrounds. He likes to have animals in his books. He uses a lot of repetitive text where he'll say the same thing over and over throughout the story. And he likes to teach us something while he's writing. He's got a purpose for his writing. So those are some of the things that he does. And what I want you to do when you start your book this week, today, you're going to start your book today, is to make sure you pick one of those things, at least one thing that you're going to try, okay? Because we're going to write books inspired by this guy, Eric Carle. So the book I'm going to read you today is The Foolish Tortoise. And this book, he is the illustrator, but he is not the author. If you look right here at the bottom, you can see that Richard Buckley actually wrote this story. Eric Carle is the one that illustrated it. But look at this. This is really cool. So he illustrated the front cover, right, of The Foolish Tortoise. Now look at the back cover. Isn't that silly? The front of the turtle and the back of the turtle. The front of the book and the back of the book. So sometimes he does fun stuff like that. So that's just an idea of something that you can do with your book. I think I'm going to try this today when I write my book. So The Foolish Tortoise. Let's see what happens. Oh, he always does this at the beginning and end of his books, doesn't he? He puts those really cool designs. The Foolish Tortoise. A tortoise, tired of being slow, impatient to get up and go, took off his large and heavy shell and left it lying where it fell. "Hooray!" he cried. "Now I've been freed. I'll see the world at double speed." Though faster, he was not express, and his protection was far less. So when he heard a hornet's drone, the tortoise crept beneath a stone. A hungry bird came swooping past. He looked so fierce and flew so fast. The tortoise hid behind some trees and felt quite weak behind the knees. There he is. Do you see him? "I don't feel safe. There's too much risk. If only I could be more brisk." He headed for the riverbed. A fish swam up. The tortoise fled. Along his way our hero went and almost had an accident. A snake with open jaws slid near. The tortoise backed away in fear. A hare, a hound, a horse raced by. So rapidly they seemed to fly. The tortoise gasped, sat Google-eyed. "I'll never be that quick," he sighed. He wandered on, the sun rose high. "I wish I had more shade," he cried. A sudden thunderstorm swept in and soaked the tortoise to the skin. The wind rose up, and soon the breeze was bending branches in the trees. The tortoise shivered. "Now I'm cold. I wish I hadn't been so bold. I think I've lost the urge to roam. I think it's time that I went home. Without my shell, I don't feel right." So when his shell came into sight, he climbed back in and said, "Good night." He was awful foolish, wasn't he? He should never have left his shell. All right, so did you see, now remember, Eric Carle just did the illustrations in this book. Did you see the very colorful pictures? Yes, me too. Did you see the white backgrounds? Yeah, I did. And the author wrote this book about animals, which was perfect for Eric Carle since he loves to illustrate animals. Okay, now we're gonna write our own books inspired by Eric Carle. And I've already thought about mine. I started thinking about it yesterday when I was making this list. And I thought, well, I know I told you guys I wanted you to pick at least one thing from the list, but I'm gonna pick 2 things, okay? So I wanted to pick one goal for me to try to reach for my illustrations. And I decided I'm gonna try the white backgrounds, okay? And then for my writing, I liked all these ideas. I had a hard time picking one, but I'm gonna go with animals. So I'm gonna try to make sure that I have an animal or animals in my book, like the main character. Like the main character of this book was the foolish turtle, right? So the character I picked is an animal, and it's a piggy, and Piggy's going to get lost. So we're gonna see what happens. All right, so front cover of my book, there's 3 things we need, right? We need an author's name, we need an illustration, and we need the title. Well, my book's all about a piggy that gets lost, and I thought, what's a better title than Lost Piggy? So that's what I'm gonna call my book, Lost Piggy. Let's see. Ooh. Aw. St. Lost. Pig. Piggy. Lost Piggy. So there is my title. All right. I have left plenty of room for my illustration. And as an author, I always write my title at the top and usually my name at the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep doing that because it works for me. We all do different things. Let's see. All right, so there is my author's name. The only thing left is my illustration for my picture. Now this is where somebody looks at your book and they're like, oh, that book must be about pigs. There's a pig on the front cover, right? Or this book must be about turtles. There's a turtle on the front cover. So whatever you're writing about, make sure that that's reflected in the front cover of your book so that when we look at it, we have somewhat of an idea what we're getting into, okay? All right, pig, let's see. There's his little legs. This is his body, okay? And he's got a little curly cute tail. Whoop. And we need his head. There's his eyes. His snout. Oh no, I can't forget his little ears. Okay, so there's the front cover of my book. I do still need to color this in. I'm probably going to color it pink because, you know, pigs are pink, right? Now, I really liked what Eric Carle did on the back of his book, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the back cover of my book. So here's the front cover with the front of my piggy, right? Now I'm going to put the back of my piggy. So there's the piggy with his little legs. And now you can see his curly cute tail. Isn't that cute? Front cover, back cover. All right, friends, so I can't wait to see what you do today and what you decide to write about. I want you to pick one thing off the list. I'll show it to you again. And I want you to get started on the front cover and back cover if you want of your book inspired by Eric Carle, okay? So let's look at this again. He uses very colorful pictures, white backgrounds, animals. He loves to write about animals. Repetitive text where he repeats the same thing over and over, like, I can do it, remember from yesterday? And he likes to teach us something in his writing. All right, so pick one of those things or more that you want to work on this week. Can't wait to see your work.